Hey everybody, welcome back once again to another episode of The Art of Photography. My name is Ted Forbes. Today we're going to take a little bit of a departure from our normal photography shtick, and I want to talk a little bit about this gadget that I've got here. And this is what's known as a Steadicam. And if you've ever seen kind of, I guess, behind the scenes of action movies and, you know, that kind of thing, you'll see these cameramen who have these big things strapped to a vest that they wear, and they're used for like action where you're having to run and chase somebody, or, you know, have somebody that's being chased or something of that nature, and it keeps the camera perfectly smooth. And what this is basically a very small version of this. And this one, and this is going to be the ridiculous absurdity portion of this podcast, is actually developed for the iPhone. And we don't normally talk about video on this podcast, and I really do not want to make it a video podcast, but I'm going to tie this in with our London meetup that we had a couple weeks ago in the UK. And if you're not up on what we've been doing, I was in London for Thanksgiving in the US. Actually, I was not in the US, and they don't celebrate Thanksgiving there, but it was during Thanksgiving. And we decided to have a photography meetup that Saturday, and we had, gosh, I'm bad with numbers, but about 30 to 40 people show up, and it was so much fun. We had a great time. I put some videos on the YouTube feed so you can see. We did a message for Wade and his wife Becca and some stuff like that. And we really had a wonderful time. We went over and shot Borough Market. We drank a lot of beer, which was excellent, and ate some wonderful food, and most important, had some great time together as a community. And if you made it and you're watching this, thanks again for coming. I really had a wonderful time, and if you didn't make it, we'll do more of these, so hopefully you can make it next time. But I have footage, because the first time I've been able to use this Steadicam was actually during the London meetup. And so basically this is you know, albeit ridiculous and slightly overpriced. This is made by a company called Merlin. It is the Steadicam Smoothie is what this is called. And essentially you put your iPhone in like so. And I use an iPhone app on here, and I'll get to that in a second, that will allow me to control shutter speed and focus and the like. But more or less how this works is it's a counterweight. So basically there's a weight on the bottom, there's a gimbal in the middle where you're going to hold it, and then you place your iPhone into the top. And they also make these, they'll work with flip cams, and I think maybe a couple other things. But anyway, it's got two controls on here, so you can kind of adjust the balance so it's not quite on. And basically you want to get that steady. So basically anywhere I move with that, or if I can walk with it, I can go upstairs, it stays smooth. And really it's just all in this balance. I'll hold it with my right hand, and then my left hand I'll just use to kind of keep it from drifting, because it will drift on you. But it's really a wonderful tool. And the reason I'm sharing this with you today is if you have an iPhone or any kind of cell phone or even a flip cam, and you've ever tried to shoot video, my personal experience is that it's been just next to unusable. And the problem is the form factor. You know, when I was a kid, my parents had the 8mm video camera. They were shaped like a real camera, and you didn't have the bounciness and the bumpiness and the jello shutter effect and, you know, all that nasty stuff. And what this does for the iPhone is it really calms all that down and makes this quite usable. And I'll go ahead and roll some of my footage here that you can see. This is footage that we took at the meetup, and like I said, it was way too much fun. We met up over at Tate Modern on the south bank of the Thames, and about 10 in the morning or so, and hung out, had some coffee. Definitely a lot of playing with the Steadicam, and people very interested in what I was doing with it. And again, a lot of the folks I talked to at the meetup, you know, we kind of all shared the same sentiment that you know, unfortunately the iPhone is just next to unusable for video, and that being one of the reasons why. And also my iPhone 4 doesn't have any kind of image stabilization built into it. I use an app for this, and the app is real simple. It's called Filmic, F-L-I-M-I-C, Filmic. And what it allows you to do is to lock your focus and lock your, one of the things on the iPhone is all these things are automated. So for instance, the focus will want to refocus itself all the time, and the exposure will want to readjust itself all the time, and even the white balance. And it allows you to set all three of those things so that you can actually move through a scene and be able to lock those down so it doesn't drift and doesn't have a weird effect. You can also unlock them. So for instance, if you're going to do a long walking shot and you are going to have to change the exposure, you can go ahead and unlock that and set it to automatic, and it will in fact do that. But anyway, this is one of the most wonderful toys ever, is the Steadicam Smoothie. I got mine on Amazon. It wasn't real cheap, but it also wasn't really expensive. But I'll be honest, if you want to take home movies on your iPhone at all, this really is the best way to go. I haven't encountered anything else that works this well. There are other Steadicams. You'll find all these DIYs online about how you can make your own Steadicam. In fact, I even made one out of a book. And that's not a Steadicam. That was more of just a you know, a handheld kind of rig to help steady the iPhone to keep it from shaking. But this really does work the best. Even, and this is what I really love about it, is I have a larger Steadicam that I do for my film work. I use a tripod here, but when I'm actually in the field shooting, and you put a 5D or something like that on there and it gets really heavy. And I love the fact that this one is so lightweight and it's just, it never wears you out, and it's just a thrill to use. Anyway, that being said, you know, it's completely genius. Oh, I remember what I was going to add to that was that one thing that's nice is you don't have to be just doing a lot of walking around. You could get really nice shots if you're doing an interview with somebody just standing there and allowing it to move a little bit, but you're not going to get that weird shaky effect that you normally get. In fact, it's even hard to try to get this to shake really fast, because even if you have the set up and you can move it side to side fairly quickly, it still retains you know, a smooth nature and kind of looks like it's just floating. And one last thing I wanted to mention on the podcast, and this is kind of a special segment for the folks that showed up at the meetup in London that I told them I would do. And I've been told by my British friends that I say the word awesome way too much in this podcast. And so I was presented at our little meetup with a list of words after we'd been hanging out, and probably some beer had been consumed at that point. But anyway, I was presented with a list that says, Ted, alternative words to awesome to use in podcasts. And some of these, quite frankly, are going to sound ridiculous coming out of my mouth because I'm not British and I do a really bad British accent, but I guess I'm English at heart. So, but anyway, I will be incorporating these in the next year of episodes to replace my traditional use of the word awesome. Anyway, these in my list includes things like stupendous, coolio, chillax, outstanding, brilliant, Bob's your uncle, excellent, cool, get in, wicked, in it, that's in it, you know, you got to get in it. I had trouble with that one too. Gorgeous, quality, but this is pronounced quality, so you have to say that right, so quality. Nice one, tickety-boo, ooh-ah, splendid, ace, fab, righteous, top banana, genius, bangin', fantastic, get into the groove. And also my Holga episode where I talk about the dudes, the 1 dude, 2 dudes, 3 dudes thing on the focus. These actually need to be geezers, I've been informed. So you have on the focus ring on a Holga, you have 1 geezer, 2 geezers, 3 geezer, or family of geezers, I suppose, and a mountain. Ouya comes spiff. I didn't get that one at all. Booyah shaka. I'm convinced they're making things up at this point. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, and as Winston Churchill once said, KBO. So anyway, that is my list of things to start incorporating into podcasts in lieu of the word awesome. And anyway, that's all I got for today. So cucumber sandwiches. Once again, this has been The Art of Photography, and thank you for watching.